Good evening, everyone. Today we'll be talking about waves. A wave is a large body of water curled into an arched form and breaking on the shore. A wave is formed by the friction of wind on the water surface. When there is no wind, there is no wave. Here I have drew a very unique sketch of a wave in deep water. So this diagram represents a wave in deep sea. Notice the circular motion. When talking about waves, the top of the wave is called a crest. This is the crest, and the bottom of a wave is called a trough. Two things that are mentioned when talking about waves are the wave height and the wavelength. Wavelength can be measured the distance between the crest and the crest, or the trough and the trough, and the wave height can be mentioned through the distance from the trough to the crest. Waves that have a gentle impact on the beach are called spilling waves, as you can see in this YouTube video here. But waves that break early have a light swash but a very heavy backwash that take a lot of sand from the beach are called destructive waves. As you can see here, this backwash was very powerful and has taken sediments from the sand and has therefore eroded the sand. So there are four main types of coastal erosions, that waves can generate. The acronym for it is CASH. That is corrasion, attrition, hydraulic action, and saltation. First one, corrasion. Corrasion, as the sediments are hurled at itself. So basically, the wave impacts this cliff, for example, and it just takes off chunks of it. Abrasion, which is the A in cash, these sediments that are used hit the cliff again and then break down breaks down the cliff. S, saltation rather, is when the chemicals in the sea water attack and dissolve the cliff. So basically, the sediments in the water just break down the wave. And then the final one is hydraulic action. It's when the water seeps through the cracks of the rock and then therefore breaks it down. So one thing that is really important when talking about erosions are uneven cliff retreat. Uneven cliff retreat can mean in a lot of forms. And here in Happisburgh, England, you can see, as I use my Google Maps, you can see that the water from the sea here has usually come up all the way to the beach, and through a method called undercutting, which is another form of hydraulic action, has worn away at the surface of the cliff, and therefore that creates an uneven cliff. So I've mentioned it earlier, and that was swash and backwash. When talking about waves, they come in on an angle. So the waves, as you can see here, come in on an angle, but then the backwash then comes vertically. So the swash is more of the upward movement and the upward angular movement, and the backwash is the retreat to the sea. This angular movement is longshore drift, and this erodes material, moves along the beach.
Coastal landforms are heavily influenced by waves. As waves erode the shoreline, certain features can be observed. To start, we look at a video showing cliff retreat.
A group of hikers in Cornwall got a first-hand look at coastal erosion in its most dramatic form.
There it goes.
To break down what is going on in this video and understand how the cliff face can just fall like that, we take a look at this diagram. As waves approach the shoreline, rock is broken down by hydraulic action. This process is called undercutting. Eventually, as the waves continue to erode the bottom of the cliff, it can no longer withstand the weight and collapses, falling into the ocean. This process is called cliff retreat. The first feature formed by cliff retreat are caves. Caves are the weakest rock surface and are the first thing to be eroded. As caves continue to be eroded, they become bigger and bigger, eventually forming a bay. Bays have many different features, but to start we'll talk about headlands. Headlands are the area with the most withstanding rock and can resist the most erosion. However, they cannot withstand the waves forever, and just like cliff retreat, begin to form caves. These caves can be eroded on both sides of the headland, and as the caves continue to grow, they can connect on either side and make tunnels. These tunnels eventually turn into arcs, and these arcs eventually turn into stacks. How this happens is that as the arc grows, it develops cracks which cause the top to collapse, forming these tall structures off the mainland called stacks, as seen in this photo. Once even those are eroded, we are left with the last stage of cliff retreat, wave cut platform. It is only visible in low tide and is composed of sand and rocks. Moving on to what Jason was talking about earlier, in longshore drift, a lot of eroded material found from these cliffs is carried by longshore drift and waves and is deposited along shorelines, creating a feature called spit. Here's a diagram showing how longshore drift works. As the waves hit the sand at an angle and swash comes in at an angle and backwash brings it back out, sediments are deposited in a horizontal way across the beach and eventually come out and extend into the ocean, oftentimes connecting to something called a tombolo, which is a small island close to the mainland. A couple other features found in these chapters are estuaries, rias, and fjords. An estuary is a body of water near the ocean that rises and falls with the tides. In this photo, it is right here. A rias is a long flooded river valley that can be affected by sea levels rising. A fjord is a deep glacial trough created when a glacier eroded a river valley to the ocean. As you can see, this has the glacial formations from that. Thanks for watching the video.